who is of which group? Next one. There you go. Septimius, the boy, is Roman. Acme, the girl, is Greek. And it started off with them in what position? They were embracing. Good. Delia, they were in an embrace. And he was saying to her, honey, I love you, and I always will. And if I'm lying, then what? Then what? Jacob.
I'll go meet a green-eyed lion alone in Libya.
There you go. I'll go meet a green-eyed lion alone in Libya, or even in scorching hot India. And the whole deal was sealed by a god, Cupid, who expressed his approval. How, Janae?
Sneezing.
By sneezing.
On left and right.
On both sides, on the left and on the right, to satisfy the superstitions of both cultures. Or to make superstitious, right. It's, there you go. And here's the thing of it. I'd also say that Catullus is probably having a little bit of fun with the whole superstitious stuff too, because we keep talking about this. What would somebody like Catullus, somebody in Catullus' position in society, have likely really thought about Cupid? Leo? Nah. If Catullus believed in anything, he probably would have subscribed to some particular school of philosophy, as some of the upper class certainly did. But the kind of the anthropomorphic, almost cartoonish kind of gods and goddesses stuff, you know. And so you got this silliness. Obviously, he's, just as regulars ringing out that we talked yesterday, it's approval for both, but it's also denial for both. The whole thing is just fairly silly and ridiculous, but then again, there it is. Acme, leviter caput reflectans. Acme. She leviter caput reflectans. All right, let's get the participle properly here. Bending, right? Because reflectanes is what kind of participle? Present active, good. Bending her caput, her head, but it's not just bending, it's reflectanes. So she's bending it in which direction?
Back.
Back, right? So again, if she's positioned on his lap, and she bends her head back, she's going to be looking up into his face, right? So she kind of...
Or his nose.
Or, well, right, yeah, she's doing a nostril inspection. Yes, there you go. Right.
He's growing, he's got a big nose.
And she said, yeah, Septimius. There you go. Really? Bending her head back. Now, she's bending her head back leviter. Slightly, right? I mean, it's not like, you know, she just was in a car accident and her neck snapped back or something. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sue him for whiplash here. But bending her head back lightly and, oh my goodness, having swaviata, having kissed the ebrios ocellos. The eyes, okay.
Well, there's more.
That's a little, what is, that's weird. Yeah, but she kissed his eyes, but it's not just his eyes, she kissed his ebrios eyes.
His drunk with what?
His intoxicated eyes, yes. Now, there's been no mention of wine here, so presumably he's intoxicated with
Love.
Love, absolutely, yes. Zoe, you gonna be okay? You need one of those air sickness bags from the airplane if you get a little.
I had the answer to puke on.
There you go. You're good. Looks like he's got his little pencil pouch open there. You should be fine.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ew. I puked on a girl and we're not friends anymore.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I wasn't really mean that. She was really not.
Wait, but how did you puke on a person? I'm really confused. Did
Projectile vomiting?
they like splash up or
No,
like?
Jacob, stop.
I've never puked, so it's not disgusting.
Yeah, the first movie.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that.
All right.
I had to puke on you during that one.
Bending back her head slightly and having kissed the intoxicated eyes of this dulcis pueri,
Sweet boy.
of this sweet boy. purpureo ore.
I hate those rosy lips.
Well, I don't know, it's charming, it's more colorful than
Hey,
that.
Rosie.
With that rosy red ore, mouth or lips of hers. And I don't really know how else you kiss somebody. I mean, you don't kiss them with a, smack in the face. I mean, of course it's with, anyhow. Point is, her lips are obviously,
So that,
well, okay, and I don't know the chapter's the direction we wanna go. I think she's made up a little bit, right?
Painted.
Painted, there you go, right, the kind of,
Got a little help.
little mascara, little cheek
Mascara.
color, little lip gloss maybe, something going on there. She's got her makeup on. Yes, yes, absolutely. She said, seek, not see, see as if. This is like saying yes. So she's in agreement with him. She says yes. But she doesn't just call him Septimius, she calls him Septimulus, which we mentioned before, a vowel and an L in a
Little.
This is like my dear little Septimius.
wait, which one's little and which one's dear?
Well, it's both.
Oh.
It's both.
And what's the adopted one?
A or AM, yeah. So, Octavianus. She says, yes, my dear Septimius. And he had referred to her as, the poet had referred to her as his amores. She refers to him directly as mea vita, my life.
Wow.
Yes, my life, dear Septimius. Huic uni domino, usque serviamus. All right, so if I tell you to servio servira, fourth conjugation, what tense and mood is serviamus? Present subjunctive. It's not in any particular clause, so how do you translate a present subjunctive? Let or may. Let us, or may we, serviamus, serve, always. Huic uni domino. This one Lord, this one Master. Well, of course, who is the one Master she wants them both to serve?
Love.
Love, or Cupid, exactly right. Yes, let us always serve this one Master. Little Septimius, my life. I'm kind of getting with Zoe over here. This is about gag-inducing. All right. Ut multo mihi maior acriorque ignis molibus ardet in medulis. No. Wasn't it your class we talked about other meanings of ut? Yeah.
How?
So how or as. And I think I want the as here. She says, let us serve this one Master always as an ignis, as a flame that is multo maior. It's not just more, it's multo maior. Much more, and much acrior, and much sharper. Ardet. That's what a flame does. Burns in my molibus medulis. Tender marrow. Yes, marrow is where in the bone? It's in the very inner part of the bone, right? And so the fire of love, it's not just a superficial thing for her, it's penetrated to the very marrow of her bones. She is passionately in love with him. And as long as that's the case, let us serve this one Master together. A little bit of grammar to talk about. What degree adjectives are maior and acrior in line 15, Sheena? They're both comparatives, which means multa is a what use ablative. Not comparison. Yeah, you're getting at it. You're getting at it. It is one is only used with comparatives. That's true. And degree is in the name of it.
Degree of difference.
Degree of difference. There you go. It isn't just a flame that burns in me. It's not just a greater and fiercer flame. It is a much greater and much fiercer flame. It is greater and fiercer by much. It burns in my soft marrow. Where am I getting my? In those two lines? No, so there is no form of me, is there? Me. Now, if you remember your pronoun, ego, mei, mihi, me. What case is mihi? Dative. But usually a word like my, that sounds possessive, and that's usually what? Genitive. I've jotted this down. Latin uses a dative to show possession. This is very, well, I won't say it's rare, but use it. So. Latin uses dative to show possession when it is something intensely personal. Okay? Like emotions, characteristics, body parts, right? So if I want to refer to my foot, I'm going to use me. If I want to refer to my book, I'm going to use some form of the adjective meus. So when it's intensely personal, you tend to use that dative of possession. Well, once again, hoc ut dixit, which totally is exactly the same as line 9. Hoc ut dixit. As she said this, good Emily. As she said this, amor sinistra ut ante, dextra sternuit approbatione. He sneezed his approbation, very nice, his approval. Where?
To the left.
On the left, as before on the right. So she said her bit, and now he, Cupid has blessed this or not, however you want to take it. Now, here's the deal. Do you see the balance in this? Every bit of this is perfectly balanced. He says his part, she says her part. She is referred to as his love. She directly refers to him as my life. He makes some grandiose declaration of love. If I'm lying, I'd rather go face a wild animal. She makes a grandiose declaration of love. Let us serve this master as if we're enslaved to this love. And starts conjuring up these images of fire and all this kind of stuff. The grammar's pretty simple. So here's a question. This is more of taste, I suppose. What would you think if some significant other wrote something like this? Not saying the exact same thing, but wrote something that was incredibly artistic in the balanced poetry of it, conjured up maybe some really big images, and went that direction. What would you think? Would you like that?
No.
Would you be put off by that?
This is 2016.
We're talking right now, we're talking about you personally and now, yes.
I'd say I'd probably keep it to sweet since I like poetry,
Okay.
so I think it would be sweet.
So if you like, right, if you like poetry, you certainly enjoy receiving something like that. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Drew?
I'd probably be appreciative of it, but I'm not sure how much I would like it. If that makes sense.
Appreciative, but not necessarily like I can get that. Yeah, you recognize they put effort in it.
I really appreciate what you did here, but regardless of whether I like it.
Right. I don't know, I think that's a good distinction. I think you can appreciate something, not necessarily like it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's a bit much.
A little bit much?
It's kind of overwhelming. You guys the meaning and all this extra.
I'd be creeped out. I could give him a hug.
You'd be creeped out?
I mean, but same with what you said. I mean, I would appreciate it that you took your time out to do all this.
Yeah.
But I don't really.
But that's just not your style, not your thing? Yeah.
I would be weirded out and kind of, get out of there. Because like Janae said, like, saying that we're going to, like, love each other until we die, it's like, I'm 16, you can calm down. Like,
Oh, okay, okay.
like this is a little bit much.
Okay,
I would
all right,
freak
fair
out,
enough.
just like, yeah.
All right, then if possible, you can still answer the questions on the table, but if you can project out a little bit. Maybe at 16? Yeah, too much, you're not dating for the lifelong relationship. But if you could project to 25 or 28,
Also a little bit more.
you're now working on your own, You've got your own place, you're making your own money, you're a young adult. The person you are seeing, you may have already started having some conversation about a more significant lifelong commitment. You may have already talked marriage. In that scenario, would it be as creepy? Because you, and I appreciate that's an interesting distinction. Still,
okay,
still
maybe
wouldn't-
when I'm like 80 and we're like closer to death, but like in your
What?
20s, like you're still perceived as very young. And
be
like
honest,
I have a life planned out ahead of me, and
Okay.
like factoring this other person and like making this other person be like, okay, so I need to plan my entire life all around you because
Gotcha.
you're gonna be like the most
The only issue
important
is,
person in my
if
life.
you wait until 80, you're not gonna be able to read it.
True.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
know.
Okay,
Let alone
your
remember
eyes
it.
surgery, I
You're
don't
gonna be
know.
holding it way
You're
out
gonna be a
here,
robot
trying
by
to-
then, but like.
Okay, good, yes, Reagan.
I think I'd probably say like, why are you so obsessed with me? Like, you need to back off a little bit, it's a little too pushy.
Okay,
Too much.
well now, okay, interesting though, the way you're all describing it, it sounds like it's a very one-sided. Now, in this situation,
It's not one-sided.
it was clearly a
Reciprocal.
reciprocal relationship, yeah, Emerson.
Usually I would be like very uncomfortable because I'm not trying to be tied down when I'm like 20.
Okay,
I could accept this
so
when
you're in the
Working
wait till 80
love,
camp.
yeah.
like 35, 40, still single, I'll take
If I'm
this, but like,
married.
that's
Gotcha, okay, yeah, Emily,
Okay, if I was in like a long-term relationship with them, and
Yeah.
like know them for like a couple years, it
Yeah.
would be kinda cute, but if it was like first date, they bring me this poem, I'd be kinda like, I don't know.
you gotta be careful about busting something like this out on the first or second date. That definitely is the, yeah, you're right, if you're already in a long-term,
But yeah, like, I don't think it's technically like tying you down by saying I'll love you forever, cause like, people say that and it doesn't necessarily always work out.
I mean, honestly, you look at some of the sentiments on some of the Hallmark cards, I mean, they're about as flowery as some of this. Rania,
Well, I was just gonna say, like Emily said, I think it kind of just depends how well you know them and stuff. Because, like, for both ways, like, if you don't know them very well and they do that, like Emily was saying, like, that's creepy, but also, like, if they really know you, then they'll write it in a way that they know you'll like it, kind of.
oh, okay,
So
sure.
then it's like, of course you'll like it.
Then, of course, you'll like it. Oh, that's a nice thought. They know your taste. Yeah, Barney.
two-sided, like, I'm like, I wouldn't like it if I was, like, in a long-term relationship,
Mhm.
but I would like it if it was, like, not to, like, make it seem like I will die for you, but, like, I will love you, and I, like, not making it like a vow, but, like, almost like it,
Okay.
but then, like, not the first date, but not, like, long-term relationship, because if you feel that way, like, it's cool, we have to get serious, and I know you will stay that way, then okay, but if you're bringing that out while we are in a long-term relationship, like, something like that, like,
Oh,
can I do something?
okay, might actually raise some questions. Yeah, Leah.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, it kind of depends, like, if you guys have been dating for a really long time, like, if you were married for, like, gosh, like 30 years, 30,
Mhm.
40, 50 years, then, like, it would be, like, kind of cute, and, like, what Rania said, like, it would kind of pertain to how your guys' relationship is, but, like, now I'd be really creeped out, like,
Please don't say that.
yeah, over, I have, like, 70 years.
So, I'm curious about
To
this.
know that.
Because we just had Valentine's Day. I saw people walking around here with flowers and stuff on Tuesday and some things. And of course, we had the carnation thing the week before.
Sales.
Do you, when you give a gift or something, a token of your romantic feelings, do you tend to buy it or make it?
Both.
Both?
For my,
Which, okay, and sometimes it's different whether it's a parent or
my mom
grandparent.
likes
something.
when I make her stuff.
Okay, which do you prefer to receive?
Both.
Both? Okay, and you guys over here materialistic, but keep that homemade crap at home. I want a diamond,
Save it for your
right?
birthday.
I want a gold ring and a big diamond, right, yes.
You can't make Chanel. Okay, you can't.
And Tony, I think we can take that. Say what? I've not.